Hi everyone, it's Joanna Klinger here from Higher Goals. If you've made it as far as the interview, you're a legend. Well done. And please heed this advice. Many come undone here believing that it doesn't require much preparation because you're simply just talking about yourself, right? How hard can it be? There is an actual art form to interviewing well, and figuring this out doesn't happen overnight. I actually suggest that this is where my clients spend most of their time preparing, and I wouldn't be going it alone if I was you. I'm happy to assist with more tailored coaching, and I can confirm that this works. At the time of this recording, all of my one-on-one clients have passed this process with flying colours. But first things first, let's set you up with some useful information on how you can master the STAR. Okay, the STAR process gets called upon when the panel want backing evidence that you've utilised a certain capability in the past, and the questions are usually phrased with, tell me about a time when, or they'll simply ask for an example. Today I'm just going to focus on working through the STAR motions, but bear in mind that when answering behavioural-based questions, you'll also need to add in a strong introduction and close. The STAR response in itself will simply not be enough. Also, try and find out as much as possible as to what your specific fire service is asking for. Fire and Rescue New South Wales want STAR LA as a response, L being learning and A for application. And bear in mind that this can also change year to year. All right, situation. Give enough information so that the panel understands the context you're in. Explain the problem, also known as the pain points, and implications if not resolved, as this will put your actions and results in better stead as you provide the information on how you work through certain issues. It's important not to get caught up in the nitty-gritty detail, as whilst you're doing this, you're not selling in your skill set and achievements, which is ultimately what you want to be focusing on. This comes later in action and result. Task, pretty straightforward, and I will give you an example of this later on in an informal interview response, but task is simply describing the expectations of what you needed to do and achieve. Action. This is where you need to articulate the actions you took in order for the turnaround to happen. It's really important to know what the key selection for the firefighting role is, because the skills I want you to predominantly talk about are the skills that the panel want the fireys to possess. For example, talk about your problem-solving skills, teamwork ability, and not how fantastic at graphic design are. Also make sure that you're using your power verbs, so initiated, led, improved, and I, not we. Ultimately, because we want to take a strong stance, and I also want to hear essentially what role you took rather than your teammates. Results. This is where you need to go for gold and really shelve that modesty. Take a strong position. Don't just talk about the outcome, talk about the implications, or more specifically, the positive impact you had on the community, the team, the fire and rescue service, whichever is the most relevant. Okay, I'm now going to take you through an example, and this is of a safety themed question, asking what safety measures the candidate takes in the workplace. Here we go. I am an owner of a construction business where I employ 3 staff. Like the fire and rescue service, it is a high-risk environment where accidents and injuries can be prevalent. It goes a long way to demonstrate an awareness of the risk given the nature of firefighting. This also ties back to the potential pain points of the job, which I spoke about earlier. If they're asking you about a specific topic, it's important to the panel, so you need to make them aware that it's also important to you. Moving on to task. It is an absolute must that I maintain a safe work environment for myself, the team, and anyone else who enters the site. I'm acutely aware that it is my responsibility to minimize any accidents or injuries at the workplace, and in order to do so, this is what I've put in place. So you can see he's taking a really strong position here. It's on me. I'm tasked with minimizing or altogether avoiding accidents on my work site. It's clear, concise, and again highlights that he is a person of action and takes safety very seriously. Okay, example of an action. So before I commence any job, I make sure that all of the equipment is in good working order and tags are up to date. I then complete a risk assessment which identifies every potential hazard, what we can do to mitigate any accidents, and note extra precautions we need to take with more dangerous jobs. When on site, I ensure that everyone is across this and I encourage them to speak up if any extra risks present or if they're not comfortable with a build requirement. I've also developed a safety policy and procedure manual to assist with the orientation of new staff. This also provides them with a reference point on what my expectations are around safety. And then he goes on to say, sorry, it's a little bit hidden. I ensure that I comply with all WHS procedures and I stay informed of new procedures as they come up. And then of course, I implement them immediately. So you can see what's happening here. He's really cataloguing his skill set well and his safety focus and accident prevention skills. Be diverse with your approach. Cover all bases per se, rather than just deep diving into one component. For example, just talking about following WHS protocols. Note the strong position that is taken and all of the I's, not the we's. Result. Okay, I've been operating this construction business for 5 years, in which I've completed around 250 large and small projects. And I'm proud to say that I've never had an injury sustained on any of my work sites. If I wasn't as vigilant with health and safety, I don't think this would be the case. Safety has to be the priority of everything we do in fire and rescue. It's paramount to understand all of the internal safety and WHS requirements, implement them into our daily tasks, and amend work processes to adhere with the new protocols as required. Benchmark where you can and talk about your success stories. Keeping staff safe for 250 jobs sounds far more impressive than 5. Also, don't imply success. Spell it out for the panel. But more importantly, don't imply that this just came down to luck. It's your conscientiousness around safety that has resulted in no workplace accidents. Own this and state it. For a strong close, again, if they're asking about safety, it's important to them. So I like signing off with the commitment that if you are successful in the role, you'll take safety as a firefighter, very seriously, and you're committed to their policies and procedures and processes, etc. Okay, that pretty much wraps up the session on the STAR approach. As mentioned though, the STAR technique is only one component of your complete question response. I have plenty more information to share on how to comprehensively and successfully answer likely questions that will come up on the big day. So feel free to reach out for more tailored coaching. You'll find me at Higher Goals, and I also have a Facebook group you can join for more useful insights that will be up on this channel. Hope you go well and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for listening.